Okay, I just realized I didn't have sound on just now. So you probably didn't hear a word I just said, but I will share with you that tonight we're going to talk about how to manage time drains. Time drains. And I know in a perfect world, if we just had everything we wanted and all the lights were green and we can get everything done that we ever wanted to get done, there would be no distractions. It would just be smooth sailing. But real life is that we're going to have distractions. We're going to have things that are draining our time and taking away some of our productivity. So tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And we're going to dive into a couple of different things. So I'll share with you a little bit about who I am in just a second. In case you don't know me and this is your first time following or joining one of my Facebook Live posts. But before I do that, I'll share with you first of all what we're going to talk about. So we're talking about time drains, which is all about productivity, because many of you who may be watching right now are coaches, consultants, and trainers or other types of service entrepreneurs. So the majority of your time and where you would like to spend it is in serving other people. Not so much in administrative tasks and in doing your social media marketing and all of those other things, but the fact is those things still have to get done. So my goal tonight is to try to share and equip you with 5 time-saving strategies. So 5 specific time drains are what will be addressed. And in doing so, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about it, but I'm also going to demo a couple of different tools because some people refer to me as a walking Google. I try to find different resources that help me to manage my time better, and I love sharing those tools, and so I'm going to make sure that I do that with you. That is why we're using something called OBS Studio, in case you're not familiar with that. So that does make it a little bit more complicated in terms of trying to listen to or not listen to, but find your questions. I'm going to try to see if I can actually get access to questions and comments while we're live. But if I'm not able to do that because we are in OBS, then I will make sure that I get back to you. And then next week, what we'll probably do is go back to using BeLive.tv so that we can make sure that we are in live form, giving you reactions and hearing from you and sharing your comments and all of those other things. Because I really do appreciate and like that format much better. But for tonight, we really are turning this into kind of like a miniature webinar or a mini class. Because we're going to give you so much information, what I would encourage you to do is to make sure you have a notebook ready because you're probably going to want to take some notes. And I'll try to do my best to share as much as I can in the description, but you'll want to take some notes on the different tools that I will share. And if you're not watching live, you can still leave your comments and questions here on Facebook. So we'll also be posting this on YouTube as well. So if you're watching this on YouTube as a replay, then be sure to post your comments there. It doesn't have to be on Facebook, and it can be wherever you want, wherever you choose. All right, so what I'm going to do right now before we start doing some demos is I'm going to switch over because we do have some slides. I like kind of including the slide deck so that it keeps me on track for one thing. So that I don't go off on a tangent. And also it allows us to make sure that we maximize the time because we like to keep these to about 20 to 30 minutes if we can. That's what snack size marketing is all about, is bite size, just enough to keep your attention and to make sure that you have some practical advice and tips that you can walk away with. Not so much to overwhelm you and make you feel like, oh my God, what else am I missing that I should be doing right now? Okay, so let's head on into pulling up the slide deck real quick here. I'm going to switch over. And right now I am not able to see comments, so I have to apologize if you are commenting or liking or saying something. There we go. Actually, I think I might be able to see it now. So let me just mute myself on my iPad. Ta-da! All right. So we're there, and now I can actually see you on Facebook. If you have any comments or would like to just say hi, then say hello. And if you're, again, watching the replay, then that's awesome too. So we're talking about how to manage time drains in 2017. And you're probably wondering, why did she just put in 2017 on the tail end of this? Well, the reason is because we want to address the fact that technology is rapidly changing the way that we do everything. And in some ways, it makes it a little bit more challenging and more cumbersome. And I think that as time moves on, by the time my eldest child graduates in 2020, there's going to be lots more technology than there even is today. So we're talking about, for this moment, what's available to you that can help you to automate and to better manage your time so that you're not feeling so overwhelmed and you're not feeling like you can't get things done, right? So in a perfect world, again, you would be focused and there would be no distractions. But the reality is we're going to have things that do disrupt our time and I used to call them time nets. It's like those little nets that are just kind of pecking at you. They're not very big, but they do create an annoyance and they do keep you from being as productive as you'd like to be. So let's switch on over. And I am Tanya Smith. I did not fully introduce myself just a little bit ago because I wanted to give some folks time to come on to this Facebook Live event. But I do enjoy sharing snack size marketing strategies over at TanyaSmithOnline.com. You can find me there where I blog about social media marketing, content strategy, and productivity tips using online apps. So you can find me on Facebook at Tanya Smith Online, on Twitter at Tweet Tanya Smith, and there's lots of other places that you'll find me on the internet, but those are my two favorite places that I like to hang out, and I'm also on LinkedIn as well. So let me go ahead and dive right in because one of the things, and here's what I'll share with you before we dive into the first time drain, which you can see is email. But one of the things I'll share with you, just so that you have a really clear understanding of what we're talking about when we talk about time drains. Get it out. We talk about time drains. That's the beauty of being on live. You can't go back and cut that out. But anyway, my daughter Callie, bless her heart, a beautiful, smart, intelligent young lady, and I have a perfect example of a time drain situation that is probably just pesky for her. She gets up every morning at the same time on the weekdays, getting prepared for school. She knows, and I know, that she has exactly 1 hour and 15 minutes from the time she gets up to the time she jumps in the car to be able to go to school on time. So 1 hour and 15 minutes exactly. And that same hour and 15 minutes applies every weekday. But what tends to happen at times is that she will get onto her tablet and play on a game, her favorite game, Minecraft. Or maybe she's on Cartoon Network and she's watching her favorite show. And then all of a sudden, lo and behold, the time has passed so quickly and she's running and rushing to try to get things together, to get her snack together, to get her shoes. In fact, she even forgot her shoes one day. But that's what time drains tend to do to us, is they tend to nitpick, and we don't even realize that we're in that draining situation until it's too late, until we're running for the car with no shoes on, right? So I wanted to kind of give you that analogy just so that you can really get a feel for where we're going with these time drains. And now let's get into the presentation and talk about email, because there's many different things that we could talk about in terms of time drains, but I'm going to give you 5, okay? 5. And these 5 are big ones. So the first one is email. And you might be one of those compulsive email checkers who likes to check your inbox throughout the day. But it's important for you to know that that tends to definitely drain your time. If you're constantly looking on your phone, constantly on your laptop or your desktop, and you're checking for email, that can take away from things that you should be doing that are more important. And in essence, the whole idea of these time drains and what makes them problematic is that it means that you're not properly prioritizing your work. So when you really focus on email instead of using some of the time-saving tricks that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, and you don't establish some type of timing and structure, that's going to create challenges for you. So I'm going to give you a few really quick hitter tips, and then I'll give you some tools that we can demo. So the first tip is to really establish certain times during the day that you're going to review your email. So instead of constantly getting those notifications on your phone, go ahead and go into your phone settings. Whatever type of email you use, whether it's Gmail or Google Inbox or Outlook or whatever it is that you have that's popping up on your phone right now, turn the notifications off. That way you get to choose when you're going in to look at those inbox emails, those messages that are coming into you. A second tip is to set a time limit. So I know this happens to me all the time where you can sit there and just go into the black hole of email and you be on there for an hour before you realize, wait a minute, there's so many other things I should have gotten done, but now you're tired. You're exhausted from going through your entire email box. Another thing is to save certain emails for later, and I'm going to show you that there is an app. Google Inbox actually does this for you without using any type of third-party service. It allows you to save your emails for a later time and then have it pop back up at the time that you've selected. So I'll kind of show you an example of what that might look like. Another tip is to combine with your to-do service. So meaning if you have like a to-do app, I use Todoist. Some people use something called Wunderlist. There's Toodle-Do. There's all kinds of different task apps out there. But one of the best things you can do is kind of combine your email and your to-do service if that's possible, if there's an integration available. And I'll show you the way that Todoist is showing up in my inbox in just a second. And then finally, make sure you organize your folders. You can definitely use different tools to organize your folders, or you can personally or manually organize the folders yourself. It's really easy to do, especially if you're using a service like Gmail or Google Inbox. I don't know so much about Outlook, but I believe they still have the folder hierarchy, and you can go in there and create names that fit. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by that in just a second here. In fact, let's go ahead and do a quick demo because I want to show you these in succession. We'll go through email and then we'll head into the next one. So I'm going to share with you my screen in just a second here so that you can see my Google Inbox. And let's get rid of, I got to be careful when I'm sharing my screen because this is live and we don't have a chance to do a do-over. I want to make sure I'm not showing anything that's private or confidential to any of my clients and that type of thing. So I'm really protective of my people. But let's show you now real quickly here what this screen looks like, and I'm going to give you kind of a quick demo of Inbox. So Google Inbox is really kind of one of my secret weapons. I still love Gmail, but Google Inbox allows you to do a couple of things that Gmail does not. And the reason why what I'm showing you is really important is because if you're checking email on your mobile phone, oftentimes there's going to be this important email that you know you got to respond to. Maybe it's someone that's reached out through your website, or maybe it's someone who you need to get back to relative to a speaking engagement, or it's a current existing client, or whoever it might be, okay? But you can't at that point as you're looking on your phone get to it at that time. So one of the best things that you can possibly do is to use the save for later option. So I'm going to just open this one because I know this is safe. Okay, so this is my daughter Callie. She's going to be recognized, and I can see on the laptop, I can see kind of a preview of what the message says, and the same kind of thing shows up on your mobile phone as well. But this is what I want you to see. See that little clock right there? What that allows you to do is to snooze at certain times. So it's going to automatically, you can program it to say, I want it to snooze until tomorrow. I want it to snooze for a specific time of day. And there's 3 settings that you can create for the time of day, or you can simply pick a time and day of your choice. So let's say I want to look at this and I'm going to choose a custom time. See, here's those 3 times I was talking about. My key times are 7, 1, and 6 p.m. But then there's a custom and then there's a silencer. Okay, so you have the option of changing this. So now I'm going to look at this again. I want this to pop up again in my inbox in the morning so I can make sure to address it. But it's now disappeared and it makes my inbox cleaner. And you can do this with any of the emails that are popping up in your Google Inbox. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. The second thing I wanted to show you is this Todoist extension. So I have uploaded a Todoist extension in Chrome because I use the Chrome browser. And what that allows me to do is to pop up my to-do list right inside here, right inside of my inbox so that I can tackle 2 in 1 blow. Another thing that's really cool about having this type of extension is you can actually add the email or add the specific website to your task list right from inside of your email box. So as you're going through emails, you can either use their reminder system, which is this little pin button here, or you can use your to-do service, which is what I like to do because I love the checklist format of to-do-list. So lots of different options here, but my point being that it's important for you to look for ways to really organize yourself a little bit better. And if you can find tools that will help you to do that, then awesome, right? Double awesome. The other thing I wanted to share with you, and I didn't just show you this, but I'll just tell you really quickly so we can keep moving and keep your time, is that when you're organizing, one of the things that I enjoy doing is making sure that I am in touch with my social media, but not constantly. I don't want to be handcuffed to my social media. So what I've done is I've actually created a folder inside of my inbox that's called so the @ symbol, social. The reason for the @ symbol is because I want that folder to show up at the top of my Gmail or Google inbox so that I can access it or see it quickly, see that there's unread messages or something that's gone in there. Now, in creating that @ social folder, what I've also done is then created filters and rules inside of my email box that say if a message comes in from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from Twitter, from Pinterest, from any of the main places that I tend to frequent, then I want it to automatically filter into that folder. That way I'm not constantly going through my entire inbox to try to find social comments and things that people have liked and replies that need to be made. It's all in one folder so that I can set that specific time like I mentioned to you. Set a specific time limit, set a specific time of day that I'm going to look at the @ social folder and then respond to people. So there's so many different ways you can do this, but I'm giving you my system so that you have a little bit of a shortcut, and you may be able to find some things that I'm sharing with you that you can use, and then you may be able to just kind of create and tweak your own system based on the tips that I'm sharing today. So that's email. Let's talk a little bit about the next time drain, and that is the internet. So this encompasses a whole lot, right? The internet is huge and broad and big. And we're not just talking about the internet itself. We're talking about social media marketing too, because it's on the internet. But we're also talking about web surfing and all kinds of other things that we tend to do on the internet, right? So just for purposes of making sure we keep up with the time, let me double check real quick here on my notes because there's some key things I wanted to share with you there. First of all, manage your time and get disciplined. So I know you can make the excuse that, oh, what, I just had so many things to do. But a lot of times we're not realizing how much time that thing to do on the internet really took. And we get sucked in again into the black hole of the internet and don't have a single goal in mind. So one of the tips that I would share with you is to have a single purpose. When you get online, when you sign onto your computer, when you're getting on the internet, think about that one singular goal that you have in mind. What is it I need to get done? And if you happen to be surfing or looking at different internet pages or websites, try to avoid looking at the sidebars because there's a lot of distraction there. The sidebars typically are going to have you subscribe to an e-newsletter, or they're going to be advertising something for you to buy, or they're going to be flashing you with the next event or something. But just don't spend too much time looking at sidebars. Look at the content that you went there to go and find. Another tip is to close your browser after you complete your task. So when you know that you've completed your goal, you've met your purpose and fulfilled your purpose, whatever that was for being on the internet, then go ahead and close your browser out. And then set up your browser so that it opens where you left off. If you're concerned about missing out on something, if you're concerned that, hey, I was working on this and at 9 o'clock I just got really tired and I went to bed and I woke back up and needed to work on that again, but oh, I turned my browser off. Well, if you have the settings in your browser, whether you're using Firefox or Chrome or Edge or any of those, there are ways in your settings to change it to where when you reopen your browser, it's going to open where you left off. So I'm going to give you a couple of different things that I use to help with the internet, and we'll do a quick demo again. I'm going to show you a couple of things really fast, so just stick with me. Come back and rewind or replay if you need to. But I want to make sure that I show you this. So we're going to go into There's a couple of different sites. I think there's 3 sites in total that I want to share with you here. So let's do a quick browser window. All right, there we go. All right, so couple of different things. So one, I don't even have up, and I'm going to pull it up right now. It's called Session Buddy. So if you look right here at the upper right corner where my arrow is, Session Buddy is a really cool way to save your sessions. So if this is combating that whole issue of, oh my God, I forgot where I was and I need to go back to that site, it saves your working sessions. You can actually name them. So I have a couple that are saved down here. One is called Training and Development. Another one is Internet Market Research Sites. Another one is Hodgepodge, because I have a lot of different sessions that are built in here. So social media management. So if I'm like really sitting down for the evening and I'm working, then I pull up my Hodgepodge and it just opens up all the windows, exactly the windows that I need to be working on, right? So this is a huge time saver. If you can create a Session Buddy, and you just look up Session Buddy and Chrome extensions. So I'm giving you Chrome because that's what I use. I'm sure there's similar things in Firefox, which I used to use. I don't know so much about Microsoft Edge, but this is an excellent way for you to really kind of get yourself organized on the internet. So another thing I want to show you, and I'm kind of peeking around my webcam here. Another thing I want to show you real quick here is Rescue Time. So Rescue Time is a really, really cool tool that you can use. There is a paid version, but there's also a free version. This is a tool that you can use to track the amount of time you're spending on individual websites. This is kind of important, and it's one of the tips that I'm going to give you at the end, because it's important to really know where you're spending your time. If you don't know where you're spending it, you won't know how to make those course corrections that need to be made so that you can be more productive. The last tool that I'm going to show you is one called Egg Timer. So let me type that in real quick here. And notice how I'm spelling it. It's e.ggtimer.com. So E, and then there's a dot, and then you spell the rest of Egg Timer. And what will happen is you'll pull this little timer up. And the cool thing about this is it's sort of like a kitchen timer. So if you know, hey, I really only want to spend 20 minutes surfing the web for this product or for this service or whatever the purpose is, right? You can go in here and just type in 20 minutes, right? And click go. And I'm not going to do it right now because it has an alarm system. But at the end of 20 minutes, it's going to make this really loud, distracting, noisy sound that will get you off of whatever you're doing. It will disrupt what you're doing so that you can then recall, okay, wait, I have other things that I've prioritized, right? And it will give you that opportunity to go and do those things. So I think that's pretty slick and an awesome tool to have. So those are different ways that you can definitely be more productive when it comes to your internet time. Remember, again, in terms of social media marketing, because that's really my bailiwick, and a lot of what I teach is about social media marketing, but try to log out of it and stay away from it and turn off the notifications on your social marketing as well as best you can, unless that is your absolute role, like you're a social media manager for someone else, right? And you have to respond, you know, by the second, or you work for a company and that's your job. But if that's not your primary job, if your job is coaching, consulting, training, or doing those other things, focus on doing those other things because those are priority. Those are income generation for you. Meanwhile, you can always, like I said, create that space to work on your social and to respond to people. These days, people know that you have other things to do. They're not expecting for you to respond like this. Now, some people are when it comes to customer service and support, but that's a whole different webinar that we can talk about. And there are ways to set up things like set up a support folder in your email inbox, for instance, that receives your emails that are customer support or service related. I also talked last week, I think it was, or the week before, here on Facebook Live about a tool called Drift. So I'm not going to go back over that right now, but that may be something for you to look into if you're really concerned about responding in a timely fashion to customer service questions. Okay, it's time for us to move on. And yeah, we got so much So I want to make sure we try to cover all of this for you with the 5, right? All right, so the next thing is unscheduled calls and meetings. Unscheduled calls and meetings are also another time drain. I cannot tell you. I know that phone calls are important. I really get that. But if you're constantly answering the phone, that's another time drain that's keeping you from being able to do the things that you've prioritized. Okay? Especially if it's an unscheduled phone call that ends up turning into an hour-long marathon. So I am of the belief, and this may be different for you depending on your business and what you do. So you really have to kind of examine and evaluate that for you. But for me, I schedule everything. So this means that I want to be at my optimal when it comes to mood, when it comes to being um, in the space and in the flow of being able to truly serve and give people all that I have. I want to do that effectively. And you can't always do that if you've been distracted by their phone call or by an unexpected meeting, in-person meeting. So unscheduled phone calls and meetings can definitely be a time drain. So I would suggest, as far as recommendations here, not to take random calls unless you have to, unless that's part of your occupation and your career and what you do. But try not to take random calls. Try to schedule everything. I use Acuity scheduling. For sake of time, I'm not going to do a demo, but I will share with you these tools. AcuityScheduling.com. There's also Schedule Once. Schedule Once is one that's popular for a lot of people. And then there's VCita, which I used to use. That's V as in Victor, CITA.com. So excellent services for scheduling your meetings and your phone calls. Another thing is to really think about when someone says, hey, I want to meet with you in person, because, I used to get that a lot as a coach. I used to have people that would say, after a networking event or if I spoke at a place, they would say, oh, I really want to meet you for lunch or for coffee. But what they're really saying is, I would like for you to give me some free coaching advice, coaching and advice, right? And you don't want to burn yourself and keep yourself from really generating the income that you deserve by getting sucked into that. So create a habit and teach people how to treat you. Teach people how to treat you by having them go through a schedule. And the thing is, it's a plus or win for you, but it's a win for them also, because you're then giving them dedicated space and time where you're at your best and you're ready to talk to them and to serve them specifically, versus being distracted and being disrupted in multiple or pulled in multiple directions. The other thing I would share with you on unscheduled calls and meeting tips. The other tip on meetings is to try to agree on an agenda in advance. Now, if this is a true meeting where you're like meeting with your team or you're meeting with a joint venture partner or something to that effect, it's so easy to create an agenda. It may not be as easy to create such a thing if you are meeting with someone for the very first time, but that's where your tools come in. So when I use Acuity Scheduling, for instance, and there's someone who is new to TanyaSmithOnline.com and they want to learn more about my services and they want to talk, what they do is they go onto my site, onto my calendar, and they plug in intro discovery call, right? When they plug that in and they choose their date and time, they're going to get a short questionnaire that's going to ask them, how did you find me? What is it that you'd like to talk about? And it gives them some options so that they know what I do. But it also helps them to kind of self-qualify. Yes, this is the person that I think I need based on the options she's given. And it gives me the ability to be able to kind of scan through and redirect if I need to, but also to prepare mentally for what the call is going to be about. So agree on an agenda in advance. And that, again, means a lot of different things to a lot of people, to a lot of different people. But you can use tools to help you with that. All right, let's see. So the last, nope, there's 5. So 4. Number 4 is mundane administrative tasks. Another time suck. Okay, we're calling them time drains. I'm trying to be, kosher here, but time drain, time suck, whatever you want to look at it as. Mundane administrative tasks, meaning things that you have to do repetitively, but you really don't want to be doing them because you want to be out there focusing on income producing activities, right? but you have to do them because you don't have a team member yet that can do it, or you're not willing yet to delegate it to someone else. Well, you got to then evaluate and examine, what can I do? What can I do with these mundane administrative tasks? And there's three things that I've always taught, and you can look back years ago, I've said the same thing over and over again in different videos and courses that I've taught, but there's three things. You can either act on it, meaning that you look at it and you say, hey, I'm going to do something with this, and you get it done. Or you can dump it. That's an action as well. So if it's something that's, really doesn't require your time and you shouldn't be doing it anyway, eliminate it, get rid of it. But the second thing is to assign it. So act, assign, or automate. Assigning means that you can delegate it to someone else, or you can outsource it to someone else, meaning that you're paying someone or hiring someone else to do it. Automation means that you're using online apps like the ones that we're talking about tonight, tools, softwares, apps, anything that you can find, any type of programs that you can find that will help you to handle repetitive work. So there are a lot of different things or tools out there and apps out there that can help you with this depending on what you're trying to do. Many of them are free. Many of them are low cost and affordable. Some of them are very pricey. So it all depends on what you need and where you are in your business at the time. The fifth and final one is mindless entertainment. Mindless entertainment. So a great number of our time drains really are simply mindless entertainment. If you're working at home, for instance, you might find yourself, going on YouTube, or you might be playing Heyday, or you might be playing Candy Crush, any of those things, those games out there that are probably the hot thing that I know nothing about. Crossy Roads. I only know about these things because my kids play these games. But anyway, they do give us pleasure and they help us to take our mind off work. So, going back to my example about my child, my beautiful, lovely child who's just an adventurer, right? I know, and the reason why I haven't shut it off and said, let me take away the tablet completely in the mornings, is that I know that this is her way of getting into the zone and, becoming happy because it's something fun, something she enjoys doing in the mornings. But she's going to learn to have to manage how to manage that time, because that 1 hour and 15 minutes is 1 hour and 15 minutes. It's not going to change. That's the amount of time that's set. The same as for you and I, that we each have the 24 hours in a day. 24 hours. We can't make or create any more hours. It's always going to be 24. So what decisions you decide to make and what choices you decide to make for that 24 hours are going to determine how productive you are and how successful you are or not. So we do need these distractions. We do love some of the mindless entertainment. It's fun and it helps us to relax and it helps us to just, not have to deal with reality sometimes. And I get that. But just make sure that you are trying to manage it as best as you possibly can by kind of scheduling and creating play hours for yourself. So even if you have to put it on your calendar, you know that this next 20 minutes is going to be blocked out for me to play Crossy Roads. Great, right? But now it's no longer a time drain because it's something you expected and you planned for. So the point is, I want you to really kind of think about how to choose intentionally and with purpose where you're spending your time so that you can be more productive and you can really manage those things that matter most when it comes to your business, especially when it comes to marketing, because marketing is a time suck, but that's a necessity, right? It is something that we absolutely need to do if we want our businesses to be seen, if we want to be able to draw and attract new clients and to serve more people, then we have to market ourselves. We've got to focus on those tasks that are going to help us to become more visible, that are going to grow our following, that are going to help us to really connect and engage with people so that we have a thriving business. So, in closing, even if you're surrounded with a lot of different distractions and time drains, you do have options. Many of the tools that I just showed you and demo for you over the last few minutes can be useful to combat these as time drains. They can be useful to help you to really get scheduling or get scheduled and organized in your day. The action items that I would have for you would be this. Try tracking. If you haven't done this, try tracking exactly what you spend your time on. Now, you can do this in a couple of ways. You can either use the tool like that rescue time I showed you. You can just use a notepad and pen and just, jot down, okay, I did this at such and such time. You can use your planner. If you have a planner that has those time slots, just write in on the time slot what you're doing and how long it's taken you, okay? But start getting in the habit for the next week or so. I want you to track your time and figure out, where am I spending time, so that you know what it is you need to work on. You can even track it in something like Evernote. Evernote is a tool that I use all the time for everything, and you can track that from your phone, your laptop, your desktop, wherever you are, you'll have Evernote with you. So that's another thought as well. Then what I want you to do is to identify, based on your tracking for the week, kind of make up a list of those things that are taking up too much time and that you know you need to make some adjustments with. And then make a commitment to yourself on what you're going to get done. So within the next 30 days, what kind of habit will you create for yourself? Now, I will share and end with this really quick note. And before I do that, let me double check and see if there's any comments or questions in here. Again, I warned you that it's hard for me to see those when I'm in OBS, but I'm still looking just in case to see if there's any questions. All right. What I was going to share with you, because I mentioned the fact that you can just do things, by tracking and kind of looking at your task and your schedules and then making commitments over a certain amount of time. Very soon, within the next few weeks, actually February 1st, we're going to start our very first social marketing sprint, or a snack size marketing sprint. So what a sprint is a 28-day program. We're going to make these available probably next week. We'll have the landing page. So next Wednesday, when I talk to you guys here on Facebook Live, I'll have more information. But to just kind of give you a little bit of an overview, what we're looking at doing is creating these sprints. Now, if you know what a sprint is, whether you're thinking of something called agile, okay, or you're thinking about a sprint like as in track and running. In a nutshell, a sprint is simply a quick and fast way of you being able to accomplish a goal, because you're bite-sizing it, you're snack-sizing it into small pieces, and you're moving really quickly through to get to a specific outcome, okay? So you're taking this outcome, you're breaking it down into small bites, and then at the end you get to celebrate and say, oh, I achieved the outcome. So our 28-day sprint program is going to be coming up really soon. The first one will start February 1st, and if you get in on the early bird, it's going to be highly affordable, because we're doing a beta version of this. I'm going to give you access to a special online tool called Finish Agent, which I have access to as a certified Finish Agent administrator. But I'll also give you access to me. You and I get to work together, and we're going to have a kickoff. We're going to have these 15 minutes everyday sprints to accomplish one of three things. We'll open these up later on, but one of three things. So one would be, if you want to build your brand and really design your online brand. A second option would be to create your social content calendar. That's a biggie for a lot of people. And then a third is to plan your offer funnel. So those are going to be the three options in the sprint, and you'll get to choose which one you want to work on for the 28 days. We do the kickoff, where you really sit down and design your outcome. You'll be doing 15 minutes every day on that task or on that outcome. And then we're going to have some office hours. And at the very end, we're going to have a celebration call. So lots is going to be happening in these 28 days where you're getting things done. And I want to help you to manage that, because that really is my strongest asset, I think. And what I've come to realize a lot of people have questions on is, how am I maximizing and optimizing my day when I've got so many different things to juggle? So I'll share those things with you if you join me in the sprint. But meanwhile, keep on following us and subscribe over here at Facebook or on YouTube or wherever you're watching this from. I'd love to connect with you and to hear from you. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to share these with a friend. I'm typically here on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central Time. And we will probably miss a few of those nights, but I will make sure that I advertise and put that on my Facebook page here, and also share with you, if you're subscribed to my mailing list over at TanyaSmithOnline.com, you'll also get notifications as to when we're going to be on live. So I'll make sure that I share those with you. And I look forward to sharing a few more tips with you. Okay, looking again just in case I'm missing any comments and questions. But otherwise, I hope that you were able to take really good notes. And if you are interested in finding me, you can find me at tanyasmithonline.com. Look, this did not show up really well, but we'll put this little slide up here real quick. And then I'm going to get ready to go ahead and wrap things up. Yeah, it didn't come out real well, but that's okay. So I blog at tanyasmithonline.com. I'm on Facebook at Tanya Smith Online and on Twitter at Tweet Tanya Smith. So come find me, come join me, connect, and let's talk, let's chat, let's find out how to actually get you some social marketing productivity. So whatever you're doing in terms of your social marketing to grow your business and to be more visible online, I want to help you to be able to do that. Just find me, connect, subscribe. Get into some of our courses that we have on the website, read the blog, check things out. You'll get lots of great tips. Many of them are free and many of them are affordable if they're not free. All right, guys. It's been wonderful spending the time with you. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to sign off, and I will see you on next Wednesday. I will look for your comments and your questions in the Facebook feed, and I will respond to those on Facebook personally. So there's not a robot or somebody else that will be doing that. I will respond to you personally. So just let me know if you do have any questions or comments on what we talked about tonight. Take care, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing week.